Hello and welcome to our Add This webinar, where we will be discussing the power of the conversion, presented by our product evangelist, Justin Thorpe. Before we start the discussion, I wanted to go over a few logistics. All attendees are in listen-only mode, so if you have a question for the presenter, please submit it in the questions box in your GoToWebinar toolbar. We will address questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this webinar and will be sending a copy of the deck, as well as the URL to view the recording in a follow-up email. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Justin Thorpe and officially start this webinar. Justin's background as a product evangelist at Add This, he spent the last decade helping companies and brands build armies of loyal brand advocates for their products and causes by engaging with users online and offline. So take it away, Justin.
Welcome. Thanks so much for joining our webinar on the power of conversions. So starting right into it, most of you have really already almost kind of taken the first step. You have a website, you have a blog, you have social media. It's easy to create and share content online, especially with the rise of mobile, because you can create and share from everywhere and anytime you want. But what about your website visitors? What's best for them, and how do you get them to engage and move the needle for your business? We found this fun stat, speaking of how easy it is to create, that there are 6,000 tweets tweeted on Twitter every second. Try saying that 5 times fast. But how do I use all of this content that's getting created, as I said, to move the needle for your business? When you're creating content online, regardless of whether it's managing your website, writing for your blog, or tweeting, when you're sharing yourself, your company, and your viewpoints with the world, you're building relationships with your website visitors. And whether you realize it or not, and whether you set this as a goal from the onset or not, over time, you're going to be developing authority with your audience. In my experience, people tend to overcomplicate their online communication strategies, but building relationships online and communicating online isn't really that much different than how you do it offline. It's just like you're sitting down with someone for lunch for the very first time, except when you communicate and build relationships online, you have the opportunity to do it at scale and with lots and lots of people. So you need to talk to that person conversationally and in your own personal voice, just as you would do if you were talking to someone across the table. And also, the more time that you invest in that relationship, the more that that person is going to trust you. Same works for online and offline. But it really all starts with that first impression. Your site, your website, your page, the content that you put out online has to get discovered. And likely someone's going to do that having searched for something related to your business or the content that you've created. One of you or one of your friends or one of your users' friends, your visitors' friends, will have shared your content via social media out to their network, or they'll have found you via an advertisement or promotion that you've purchased and put out on the internet. And boom, you've got someone. You have that first impression. They're on your website. It's just like when you meet someone in person for the very first time. So, my wife and I have a 3.5-month-old. He's amazing, but he's still not sleeping through the night. So like many new parents, we found ourselves Googling for tips and tricks from other parents about how to get your kids to sleep through longer stretches. There's this glorious website that will come up when you're doing your research called Baby Sleep Site, very aptly named. It has fantastic articles about tips and tricks and strategies that parents have utilized for helping get their kids to sleep and sleep more effectively. But quickly, you'll notice that as you're perusing the site, they ask you to subscribe to their email newsletter and will even prompt you to do so, or in the process of prompting you to do so, incentivize you to do so by offering a free sleep guide to those that do. So once you've gotten someone to your site, it's all about getting them to take action. Now, it's about getting down to business. How are you going to develop that deeper relationship? How are you going to move them so that they make a purchase? It's all about the conversion, or call to action and helping them move down the funnel. What is a conversion? A conversion is when you put an ask in front of the user and hopefully they do what you ask. It could be lots of things. Follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, subscribe to my email list, share this page, or click on this link. It just depends on what you want your users to do based on where they are in the relationship that you're building. But getting your website visitors to establish deeper relationships with your websites, while it's crucial, because as we mentioned from the onset, but it's hard because as we mentioned from the onset, it's easy to publish and share your opinions online. So at times it kind of feels like you're dealing with a room where everyone's chatting. You're going to get lost in the noise unless you're smart about how you do what you do. We found a stat that says that there are 644 million active websites. Most people will be on your site and off in a second. You're going to have a hard time keeping someone's attention unless you give them a reason to come back. So, someone just had a good first impression. Hopefully they were able to find additional articles that help them to establish you as a thought leader. Now you need a way to get them to come back to your website. As we've mentioned, one popular way to do this is to ask them to subscribe via email. In this example, you can see that the website Your Tango does this through prompting users to subscribe to Your Tango through a welcome bar that kind of ubiquitously persists along the top of their website. And really the goal is that, and what you'll find over time is you continue to publish content and have a way to facilitate your users coming back via something like an email list, that their trust in you will continue to grow. And they'll transform from becoming passive consumers of your content into brand advocates. What does that mean? It means that they'll start sharing your content. It means they'll start telling their friends about you. It'll help you get in front of people that you would never otherwise have seen or gotten in front of. It'll help you grow your sales and your revenue. And by getting in front of these new users, it'll help you to, you don't have to actually spend, or won't have to spend as much money on getting new users to come to your site, because the existing visitors that are coming to your site will help get people to your site for you, which is very exciting. So how do you get your initial conversions? Well, with AddThis, we have AddThis, and specifically AddThis Pro. And AddThis offers website tools to empower site owners to give their visitors a personal experience that we can help you to show the right content and the right calls to action at the right time for your users. By making your website more personal and by putting those right calls to actions or conversions in front of your users at the right time, AddThis website tools will help you to grow visitor engagement on your site and on-site conversions. Keep an eye out for some exciting product announcements that we have coming soon that'll make your conversions and call to actions even more powerful. While brief, that was kind of an overview about the importance and the power of conversions. We would now love to answer any questions, open it up to some discussion from other people that are attending this webinar.
Thanks, Justin. We do have a couple questions, and I'll throw those out to you now, if that's cool. The first is, how do you know if your conversion tool is working the way you want it to?
Ideally, you have some analytics that have been set up so you can see specifically how users are interacting with that conversion, so that as users are working through your site, you can see, are they seeing it? If they're seeing it, what are they doing once they get to it? And then once they get to it, are they clicking on it and advancing to the next stage of the process in the way that you have hoped?
Okay. And can you customize tools to match the design of your site specifically with AddThis?
Absolutely. While some of the customization may be initially limited, we're continually talking to our users and getting more feedback to see new ways that we can continue to improve and add continued customization capability, but there is quite a bit of customization that exists as it is today.
Okay. And do they work on all mobile devices?
Absolutely. As we've seen, is that the amount that people are engaging with content on mobile devices is ever increasing, and so this has been something that's been of importance to us from the onset, is to make sure that when people are engaging with your content online, that they can engage with it and then convert or see and engage with the calls to action that we present to them when and do it in the best way possible, even when doing it from a mobile device.
Okay, cool. Um, and can you target which audiences should see your conversion tool? So if you wanted to specify the message depending on where they came from or what their interests are?
We these are all things that we're actively working on and looking to roll out in the near future.
Okay, cool. So here's a pretty specific one. I'm currently an Add This Pro user and I run an e-commerce site. There's a lot of widgets to choose from on my dashboard. So do you have any recommendations on which ones perform better or which ones that I should add to my site?
Yes, depending on what your goals you're trying to achieve on your site, your tests which tools work. You can test which tools work better on your site. Take a look at adding one sharing tool, one follow tool, one content recommendation tool, and one conversion tool to start. Then switch them out with a different set of the same tool and see if one performs better than the other.
Okay. Let's see. We have two more questions. Can I change the messages? And do you suggest changing them frequently when I use these kinds of tools?
Absolutely. You can change the messages that show up in your welcome bar and conversion bar at any time. We don't have any A/B testing available now, but you can run a simple test by changing the message and calls to action week over week to see if one performs better than the other. The analytics in your dashboard will clearly tell you which is bringing you more conversions at any given time frame.
And let's see, sometimes I find these kinds of tools are in your face. Do you have suggestions on which to call or which to use consistently and which to use periodically?
We think that using the right tool and the right call to action can be non-invasive and help your visitors. For instance, our welcome bar is a subtle and consistent, whereas our conversion lightbox is a bit more, how should we say it, declarative in nature.
All right. And I think that's it for the questions, unless we have any last minutes. Anything as far as thoughts to bring the webinar to conclusion, Justin?
Um, we do have a few other. Does Addis have any special rates for nonprofit organizations? Thanks, David, for the question. We definitely, someone from our team will specifically reach out to you. I don't know the answer to that one. And then Shelly, yes, we will be sending a copy of these slides to all that participate in the webinar. And they'll also be posted online via our blog, which is addthis.com/blog. We hope you found this helpful. We definitely want to be doing a whole lot more of these webinars as a way of sharing our knowledge and the things that we've learned and empowering you guys, our users, to help be smarter as you use the internet as a way to drive engagement for your content, your brands, and really help your businesses to be more successful and effective by creating online communication strategies that underline what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And so definitely expect to see more of these, but as we kind of have said from the onset, that there's real power in communicating online, and that by putting your thoughts out there, you're building these relationships, and you can really take a set of users from being passive visitors, passive consumers of your content, into a group of people that are really advocating on your behalf, that you really have an army, if you will, that will stand behind you. But as we've said, that just takes time, and it takes putting yourself out there and building those relationships with as many people as possible. But thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Justin, so much. And thank you, everyone, for coming. We'll be in touch.